Most audiophiles will tell you that if you want big sound, you're going to need a big speaker, and rarely do they advocate for the more compact little brother, the bookshelf, because there's no replacement for displacement. Am I right? Well, today's bookshelf loudspeaker wants to challenge that theory, so hit that like button and subscribe and settle in for today's review as we take a look at Monitor Audio's Bronze 100 bookshelf loudspeaker. The Bronze 100 is the largest bookshelf in Monitor Audio's Bronze lineup. It is a two-way design that features a 1-inch gold dome tweeter mated to an 8-inch mid-bass driver. Now, the 8-inch mid-bass driver is a bit of an outlier among bookshelf loudspeakers, as more and more manufacturers are choosing to go with 4, 5, and 6-inch drivers. But there are some advantages to an 8-inch driver, volume and bass depth being among them, provided the rest of the speaker's design is up to snuff. The 100 has a reported in-room frequency response of 37 Hz to 30 kHz with a sensitivity of 87 dB. Now, impedance is rated at 8 ohms, though Monitor Audio does point out that this speaker can dip as low as 4.5 ohms when pushed. One of the things that I like about Monitor Audio is that throughout their history, they've always been a little bit more forward-thinking in terms of design, and the new 100 is no different. It comes in 4 very distinct color combinations. You're seeing the white in this video, but all of them go a long way in dressing up what is otherwise a budget-minded loudspeaker. The functional yet graphic waveguide that encapsulates the gold dome tweeter I think is a really nice touch stylistically, and it's grounded very nicely by the silver gray smooth mid-bass driver. About the only thing that lets this speaker down stylistically, at least for me, are those magnetic grills. Going by the specs, I had prepared myself for an ELAC-like experience. A fine sounding loudspeaker, but one that was going to be a little bit more picky as it related to amplifiers. Thankfully, or surprisingly, the Bronze 100 is not this way. It paired very well with a wide range of amplifiers. We paired it with our name Unity Atom, the Musical Fidelity M5SI, the Yamaha Y6A receiver, NAD C338, heck, even our vintage Pioneer 780. All of them sounded great, and even the lower powered name and NAD amplifiers managed to drive the 100s to loud levels without a great deal of strain or distortion. In fact, the NAD proved to be one of the better fits for the 100. So what does the 100 sound like? It's a lot of fun. This is a dynamic, punchy, lively loudspeaker that manages not to be too aggressive or forward until you really start to hammer it. And if you use an amplifier that may not be as refined or have a refined top end, it is possible to get the gold dome tweeter to beam and become a bit bright or aggressive. But for the most part, the 100 is just super clear. There is definitely an emphasis on the upper mid-range as you approach that crossover point with the tweeter. Detail is going to be much more forward and in line with the high frequencies rather than hanging back a bit. Now, this is something that Christy liked, and I have to admit, it gets your attention, and it is very captivating at lower volumes, which can be welcomed. Now, the overall frequency response is going to have a smile-like curve, but it's one of the least aggressive smirks in the audio world, if you catch my drift. But there is a bit of leanness in the mid-range, thanks in part to the high frequencies extension and articulation. So this is not a warm or lush loudspeaker, but it is not analytical either. This also means that vocals and dialogue have a certain immediacy and presence to them, though I have heard weightier performances through other two-way bookshelf loudspeakers. For example, the KEF LS50 Meta has a far weightier mid-range, the kind that you kind of get a sense for the performer's chest cavity or diaphragm, whereas the 100, it exists a little bit more up here, where the detail is formed. Still, artists sound like themselves, maybe even come across as a bit more clear than what you're used to, but I'm not going to call it 100% natural. Where this bookshelf really shines is in its bass. It slaps, and because it has an 8-inch driver, it can move a lot of air. Only it punches that air rather than pushes it. So if you're looking for a speaker that is kind of low and slow or comes off a bit more mellow, this ain't going to be it. But if you like your bass to hit with a bit of sass, you need to check out the 100. Rage Against the Machine, Audioslave, Billie Eilish, they all sounded fantastic through the Monitor Bronze 100, though it's not all kittens and rainbows, because there is a limit to this driver's control. Even with the more powerful M5SI at extremely loud volumes or with very, very complex bass passages, it is possible to get this driver to misbehave, and some of that low-end detail begins to become a bit fuzzy around the edges. This is where you probably start to experience the difference between the speaker's in-room response versus its actual bass capability. Now, of course, I'm nitpicking here, but it is worth noting. But a lot of what I've just described doesn't ultimately matter because the 100s are just so easy to love and get lost in your favorite music and movies with. Side note, I think that the 100s would be amazing in a home theater setup. They have enough bass and tower-like presence on their own that for most of you, they probably would make for really good left and right mains. If I was to build a home theater around the 100s, and I might after this review, I would use the 100s as my left and right mains, pair it to, say, a C150 for the center channel, and a pair of bronze 50s for surrounds. Throw in a couple of subwoofers, and I think you're going to have a pretty killer home theater that doesn't obliterate your bank account nor make it look like you're trying to recreate Stonehenge in your living room. But even with two 100s, watching movies like Soul on Disney Plus, oh my God, it was a real treat. And while we're talking about the 100 surround sound performance, let's discuss its soundstage because these speakers image so well. They have a center focus that is so good at this price point, and their slight emphasis on the upper mid-range and high frequencies only enhance this speaker's ability to pull focus. Now, the soundstage does favor width over depth, though both are very good. But again, this is not a speaker that is going to seduce you or draw you into its soundstage. Instead, it's going to grab you, captivate you, and excite you into wanting more. So what other speakers is the 100 most like? I think the 100 competes very favorably with the Focal Cora 806. Both speakers are excellent in that mid-range and high-frequency detail department. Both image like utter champions and have some of the best center imaging you're likely going to find this side of $1,000. That said, the Bronze has better bass, not to mention better impact in said bass compared to the 806, and I just think that the Bronze series looks a little bit nicer compared to the Focal. I would also consider the 100s alongside the 600M, though the 600Ms are going to be a little bit more refined or smooth in areas, whereas the Bronze has just a little bit more snap, which for some types of music, electronica, pop, rock, and movies especially, this can be welcomed. At least it's welcomed for me. And this speaker reminds me a lot in that regard to our Yamo S803s, but the Bronze 100s have far better bass than the 803s and are better composed. So you probably have to step it up to the Yamo Concert Series, perhaps even the C97 Mark II tower speakers in order to have a true apples-to-apples comparison when discussing the Monitor Audio Bronze 100 and Yamos. So what are they not like? Well, the 100s are nothing like the KEF LS50 Metas. The Metas are an audiophile's loudspeaker in that they take themselves very seriously. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I love the Metas, but it is a speaker that makes you appreciate it or your system, whereas the 100s, they kind of make you act a fool from time to time. Now, the Metas are more neutral, more refined, less excitable, but they lack the 100's snap and dynamic capability. No doubt, the Metas at their asking price are the better speaker. Full stop. But for about a third as much, I think the Bronze 100s may be just a little bit more fun. They are also nothing like the ELAC debut reference. Nothing against ELAC, but the Bronze 100s are they're more engaging and they require so much less of you and your system to get to that happy place. So for me, the Bronze 100s are the better buy. You know, for me, the Bronze 100 from Monitor Audio sort of flew in under the radar and it provided me with performance that I just really was not expecting. And I also kind of felt sorry for it going into this review because I knew that it was going to have to follow the Klipsch La Scala review, and who wants to do that? But like the Klipsch La Scala, I keep plugging the 100s in and enjoying myself immensely each and every time. So these are one of Christy's current favorite bookshelf loudspeakers, and after several weeks, I have to admit, I'm right there with her. They're great. They're not perfect by any stretch, but they're perfect for how we like to live and listen. So I'm going to say highly, highly recommended. So that's it. That is my review of the Monitor Audio Bronze 100 bookshelf loudspeaker. What do you have to add? Any thoughts?
I mean, you've already kind of indicated that I'm into these, so I don't have a ton to add. I think for me, I was really surprised by their sound because aren't they British designed?
Yes, British design.
I don't know, quote, air quote, British sound.
Yeah.
And to me, they sound completely different from any other British sounding or whatever British speaker that we've ever had in house. So that to me was probably the biggest surprise. I didn't really expect that. They have like the fun factor is far more Klipsch-like. Not that they sound like Klipsch speakers, but that fun factor is what I'm talking about. I think that, and I could be completely off base, but this is just my subjective opinion, so don't at me, but they remind me a lot of the Formation Duos from Bowers and Wilkins.
You know what I was going to say? RBH.
Or the RBH.
Which we didn't review on this channel, but we had. But you're right, they have that sort of powered monitor type of impact with the right amplifier. I totally agree, and I wonder if it's not that driver, that 8-inch driver, and the material that it's made out of a little bit.
And you know that I am just completely enamored with those types of speakers, like the Formation Duo, the RBH, like anything that has that impact and like super clarity. I don't care so much about stuff sounding 100% natural. That's just, whatever. Does it move me? Does it make me want to get up and dance? Yeah. Like that's my sort of measure of a speaker. Yeah. Maybe that's obviously not as analytical, but to me it's more of a real world, an emotional reaction.
Yeah, it's the connection. You want to have that connection rather than, and that's what I was kind of alluding to with the KEF, is it's like I can appreciate what it's doing, or the speaker can make me appreciate what I like. And I think that, like, I think for both of us, you especially though, like I can kind of put that on a shelf, but if it doesn't connect straight to the heart, you're like, the speaker's fine.
Well, what's really interesting for me, or I guess I would say, is kind of my true measure of a speaker, because I know that you know this, but the audience doesn't know this, but most of the time, often when you're initially setting up a new set of speakers, I'm in another room working or whatever, so I'm usually listening from a different location.
Right.
And I automatically know if I'm going to like something by how I feel when I'm in another room listening. If it doesn't move me when I'm sitting in front of my chair in another room at my computer, they're going to be very much a meh kind of a reaction from me.
That would almost be a great metric. Like, it has the ability to pull Christy from another room.
Yeah.
If it can, and I think you are batting 1,000. The speakers that make you peek out of your office into the main room, I think have always garnered high praise from both of us. Whereas the speakers that you don't go, or you come out minutes or hours later going, whatever you were playing, it just wasn't, Yeah. So it's an interesting metric. We're gonna have to figure out maybe how to like turn that into a saying or like a badge or something, where it's like we have product of the year and then we have it can pull a Christy.
it can pull me away from another room.
Pull me out of another room.
But I definitely felt that with these particular speakers. They're so much fun to listen to.
I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more of like a B&W 600 kind of series, and I agree with you. It's far more on like the Klipsch side of things, the fun factor.
In terms of sound.
In terms of sound. Yeah. And finish-wise, I would say that there's like Bowers & Wilkins has got finish on lock. I even think the Klipsch Reference Premier RP600 8000, I think theirs is very nice.
For a traditional style,
yeah.
It looks good.
And I would put this right in there. Now, Focal, like the Focal Cora, it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss. There are aspects of the Cora that I think are beautiful, and their veneer, their wrap is better than what you're going to get with ELAC or this other brand, despite the ELAC one feeling chunkier, but it just, I don't know what it is. But the Focal, stylistically, there are some seams, there's some visible assembly things that I'm kind of like, ooh, where the Monitor did not have that. This thing is buttoned up.
No, and that's why I was saying it's, in terms of craftsmanship, it's very well made. It's just more of a personal style preference. I feel like I've kind of seen it already. I'm not, I know, yes, it does come in 4 different finish options. They're all a little bit boring. I just like, look, let's just give me something different.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen this not quite white, grayish, you know, and then the standard like sort of blue color. I mean, it's the same, or black, you know, whatever. Yeah. It's the same 4 finishes that pretty much everybody offers, and I'm over it, you know.
Yeah.
And I know I am far more picky than probably other people, because, you know, they're not seeing a new speaker coming in the door all the time, you know. So I am far more judgmental than I think probably the average consumer.
Sure.
For me, in terms of style, nobody beats Yamo. Nobody.
Strong words.
They are fantastic for their price.
For their price,
especially.
I think Klipsch Heritage line, beautiful for wood. You know, I would have loved to see the Kefs in a different color.
Well, I asked for it.
I know, but I think like the Kefs, and when I see the Kefs in other colors on like Instagram, I'm like, come on now, that's nice. Well, anything else?
Yeah, no, not really.
You're good?
I think they're great. I love listening to them.
Yeah,
I really hope that we get to hang on to them for a little bit longer.
I do want to try the home theater with them.
Because I think they're
yeah,
they're surprising for watching movies.
Yeah, I hope we can work something out with Monitor Audio where at least they'll let us hang out and bring, you know, send us a center, just so that we can, you know, maybe in the next receiver review or something, be able to show them off in that way, and make a little side comment, because I think they would be really good in a home theater environment.
And at a pretty affordable price.
These aren't even $600.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And hey, if they're in stock, even better.
Yeah.
I mean, stock has plagued this industry for the past year, and
it's only going to continue.
Yeah, it's a struggle bus for sure, but I think they're fun, and I'm glad we finally got them.
I am too. I know if they had gotten here sooner, before we kind of had the cutoff with our awards, they would be up there. But hey, we're going to have another award show in 2021, so maybe they'll be there at the end of the year. Who knows?
Yeah, it's probably harder to be at the beginning of the year
than it is.
I mean, after all, that is why the Oscar-nominated
films all come out at Christmas.
Yeah, they all come out like a month before the awards. Like there's that push.
Yeah.
But we'll try to remember them. You know?
We will, and like I said, hopefully they get to hang around. That will help.
Yeah, and that would help.
So,
anyway, that's it.
That's it. All right. Well, that is our review of the Monitor Audio Bronze 100 bookshelf loudspeaker. What'd you guys think? Let us know down in the comments below. And my question of the day for you is this: given that the 100 is a fun loudspeaker, if you were a speaker designer, would you focus or put your emphasis in your design on being the most reference or neutral, or would you want to design a speaker that was more fun? Let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Ring that bell so that you're notified when new videos come out. If you use any of the links that Christy kindly left for you down below, know that that is a great way that you have continued to show your support for this channel and the work that we do here, and we both thank you very much. Follow me on Instagram at Recovering Audiophile. And one last piece of news. We surpassed 150,000 subscribers this week, and I just want to thank you all so very, very much for helping us reach yet another milestone. You guys are great. And if you're watching this and you haven't yet subscribed, please join the 150,000 plus subscribers and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate it. That's it. So remember, the only person that has to like the sound of your system is you. So happy listening, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next video. Bye. Let me do one more.
Is it really ha-ha?
You know what? It is. It is. Someone is going to laugh. They're going to be like, Stonehenge, I get it. I get it. I've seen some speakers. They look like rocks. Yeah.
You also left out the subwoofer bit.
Okay.
I don't know that you really need it.
You do. Because someone's going to go in the comment, nah, I'm saying it if you don't got subwoofer. Be like,
I just picture somebody that's doing that at their computer and they have a, like a headset.
It's not a home theater if you don't got a subwoofer. Loser.